What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video today. Today, we're going to be discussing some of the top games to be excited about in 2026. Now, this list, just first and foremost, is going to be a list just for me. It's kind of like some of the games I've been like super pumped about since the announcements of whenever they were. Some of them were announced last year, some of them were announced a couple years before that. But I'm going to start in kind of like a chronological order of when they released and then kind of head into like some of the games that we're not quite sure, but we know they're slated for 2026, as well as maybe even some potential games that may or may not shadow drop during this year. One of the first games that's sticking out to me that's coming out very, very soon is High on Life 2. It releases February 13th, and I really enjoyed the first game. This game was super cool and super funny and super fun, and it was just kind of like a simple FPS that kind of told this wacky goofy story. One of the top things about this game that I really enjoyed was just the different gun characters and how each gun felt completely different, and it seems like this game's going to pretty much take that kind of artistic style as well as all that different weapon variety and just add to it and make it deeper, make it better, and just maybe grow the game more. Just kind of building on top of everything that they've learned off of High on Life 1. And you get to ride a skateboard, which seems pretty cool. Now, as for the next game, it's John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. So this game releases March 12th and is going to be developed by Focus Entertainment and Saber Interactive. These are the people behind Space Marine 2, World War Z. These are games that I absolutely loved, and they're best known for their Swarm engine. If you haven't played those games, basically what those games do very well is just create these massive swarms of enemies that come after you without really hindering too much performance. I don't know exactly what they do in the back end to not necessarily bottleneck your system, but it makes these games super action-packed, super fun, and great to play with friends because it's just going to be a co-op experience. So this game seems to take that and put it into a more first-person aspect. And imagine Outbreak from Cold War Black Ops and bringing that over into this new John Carpenter-esque world horror zombie type thing. So I'm super pumped about this. I'm a sucker for co-op games, so I know for a fact this is going to be one of these games that me and my buddies are going to be playing. Now, another game that's coming out not too long after that is Mouse PI for Hire. So this game is super unique. I absolutely love the art style and direction that they're taking with this game. It's basically Cuphead but in first person, and this is what absolutely piqued my interest about this game. I like this kind of detective-esque thing. If you're going to have the great Troy Baker, the voice actor of many countless games, but most recently he was known for Indiana Jones as playing Indy. And I'm kind of hoping that they can make a very compelling like 1930s, 1940s detective style game while also utilizing this old school cartoon artistic style. I'm really curious to see how this game feels as well. I feel like it's going to be kind of mess with your brain a little bit because of the art style and not necessarily looking 3D but 2D kind of like feel. So I'm really excited to check out this game. I love any new indie games that are coming out. So yeah, now we have 007 First Light. So this is, I'm sure, on the top of everybody's list, or at least in the first half of the 2026 year. This game basically takes the concept of let's make James Bond, but let's see him in the early years. Let's see how he was trying to figure out the ropes of being an agent, a spy, or whatever. And this game just looks visually really appealing, has a lot of action set pieces and sequences. This game is going to be a third-person action adventure game, so I think it's going to be really fun. It's supposed to be it is being made by the developers of IO Interactive, the people behind the Hitman series, so it kind of fits pretty well with the type of people that are going to be making a 007 game. I anticipate this game, like I said, is going to be a little bit more action than the previous ones. But yeah, this game releases May 27th, so let's check it out, man. Let's see how it is. Now, this one threw me out of left field when I first saw the announcement of this game at the Summer Games Fest last year in 2025, and that is Lego Batman. This game is basically the next Arkham game, but open world, and covers basically every story, or going to take elements, I should say, from every Batman story ever made. And that's just not just the movies, not just the games, but also the comics and any other Batman material. That's what they're saying. They're saying TT Games, the developers behind this, are saying they're taking elements from every single game. They're going to have every single Batmobile, every single Batman costume, all the characters, all the villains, This seems super, super awesome. It seems like a complete love letter to the franchise. So it's going to be filled to the brim with Batman lore and content. And the combat looks super fun. Like I said, as somebody who's a big fan of the Arkham games and has been wanting a new Arkham game to play, this seems to slot in and take kind of that spot that Rocksteady hasn't been able to do. So I'm super pumped to check this out. And this is supposed to be coming out also in late May. Now, this next game is a game we haven't really seen much of. There's no release date on it yet, but everything's pointing to it's going to be released sometime in 2026. We're estimating it's going to be at the end of 2026, and that is the new Fable game. We haven't necessarily seen much from this game, and quite honestly, this is a series I've never actually played before. I actually have it on my backlog to get it completed and get it played before the new one comes out. It's a genre that's really piqued my interest. I like the take that they make on it and a more comedic approach. I'm really curious to play out this game for the first time myself. But from everything that we've seen so far with Fable, which isn't very much, this game looks beautiful. It looks awesome. I'm always down for a big open world fantasy RPG game, especially since we're so far away from whenever Elder Scrolls comes out. And this is a franchise that Xbox has had kind of abandoned for a very, very long time. I believe the last one that came out was in 2013. So I'm super pumped to see this game and see more of it. I'm anticipating that, well, we are going to see it coming up, some more footage of it in the Xbox Developer Direct. That's going to be, I believe, next week. So I'm actually going to be making a video on that and everything that we see from that event. So stay tuned and like and subscribe if you want to see more content and my thoughts and opinions on that, new announcements or new showcases. So yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. But anyways, speaking of another game that is going to be in that Developer Direct is Forza Horizon 6. Now, I'm not a big racing game fan, but the Forza Horizon series is this franchise that I keep on coming back to. Absolutely love the Forza games. I love the art style, the environmental design that they do, the level of detail on these open world racing games that Forza makes, that the Playground Games makes, is absolutely beautiful. When the Forza Horizon 5 came out, I was super excited about it. It took place in Mexico. They took environments from every single element of that country, and that's the one thing I really like what Playground Games does with Forza is it tries to pay tribute to everything about whatever that location is. So this one's going to be taking place in Japan, so I anticipate we're going to see the streets of Tokyo, out into the countryside of or in Osaka. I don't really know much about Japan, but I'm hoping to learn more about it within this game in Forza Horizon 6. I can't wait to see the different JDM builds that you'll be able to make. I imagine that there's going to be a lot of that and a little bit more customization in terms of visuals in this game to kind of fit the setting. So yeah, super excited. And I'm gonna round it off here with the final Xbox game that I'm super excited about, and that is Gears of War E-Day. Going back to the original crew, man, it's super, super awesome to see. We're going to have a prequel. We're actually going to see what exactly happened, the storylines, what Marcus Phoenix went through during E-Day. So this game, you're going to see like all the old cast members in like in a younger body. So I'm hoping that Gears can get back to the old Gears that we remember from the 360 era, man. That run between Gears 1, 2, and 3 were absolutely amazing. I did play a little bit of Gears 5. I didn't mind it. I enjoyed my time with it. But I'm hoping that with E-Day, we can recapture that essence of what made Gears so great. So I'm super excited to see it. I'm also really pumped for a new Horde mode. I loved Gears Horde mode. I want to see more of that. I want to have more of that. And also the multiplayer, man. Gears is another multiplayer. Right now, it's kind of hard to play Gears multiplayer because everybody that plays it now is like a god. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not the necessarily best Gears player, so I do get kind of smoked. So it'd be kind of nice to play a new game with fresh new blood in there where I can kind of compete a little bit better. Now, the next game we have here is Exodus. I'm really excited for this one because as somebody who's a massive, massive sci-fi fan, this game looks absolutely awesome. So the writers and developers behind this game are the same people that made the Mass Effect trilogy. So this is going to be kind of not a spiritual successor per se, but kind of fits that same ethos and lore, and obviously third-person action adventure style. So the visuals look amazing. The world looks amazing. Got Matthew McConaughey being one of the voice actors in this game. This is a game I've had my eye on for a very, very long time, so I'm curious to get a release date on this. We did see more trailers and stuff of it in the Game Awards that happened a couple months last month. So yeah, Exodus, man, looks really sick. Now this one, it's supposed to be 2026, but we'll see. And this is a game I'm sure everybody who's been watching this video has been waiting for me to say, and that is GTA 6. Going back to Vice City. I will say, as somebody who lives in the Miami area, I'm really curious to see how well they're able to capture South Florida and the essence of Miami in this game. It's going to be pretty cool to see some of the recognizable areas and stuff of the city that I see all the time. And it seems like they're putting a lot of effort to capture that Miami aesthetic, the landmarks, the culture, and just like the cool thing about it too is it seems like it's not just going to be about Vice City and Miami, but also general Florida and as a whole, from what I'm gathering, like, you know, the mudding, the rednecks, everything, the keys. So I'm really, really excited for GTA 6. Who isn't? Obviously, I imagine that's going to be a day where everybody's taking off work. So hopefully, according to everything right now, it's supposed to be releasing in November of this year. We'll see. I hope it doesn't get delayed any further. This is a game that everybody's been waiting for I believe 14 years now, or 13 years, somewhere around there. Now we have Star Wars Galactic Racer. Now I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but I love myself a good arcade racer. This game, it looks super, super fun. It looks like a faster, higher, more intense paced Mario Kart in a way. Has a variety of different combat and vehicles you can use. It's not like the old pod racing game that we had on the Nintendo 64. It kind of dives deeper into all the different avenues of vehicles that you in the Star Wars world. So super cool. I think it's gonna be a fun game to play with some friends. Probably gonna pick it up. Like I said, looks really, really fun. Now for this next section, we have potentials. We're not entirely sure it's gonna come out in 2026. But it might not. We're not sure. It could be later. It could be delayed. It could be canceled for all we know. But these are some games that are not officially announced for 2026 that I am excited for. And that the first one being Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. This game, first off, visually looks amazing. And as somebody who's a big fan of Captain America in the World War II era, which we don't necessarily see a ton of, I'm really, really excited to dive deeper into a Captain America story that takes place during World War II. It looks super cool. I'm down for a good high quality Marvel game. We haven't necessarily had one in a pretty long time. The most recent one that we had was Guardians of the Galaxy, which is an awesome game that I'm actually going to be making a video on my second channel called Nostalgia Pixels, which will be in the link in the description below. And that channel is basically where I cover and do retrospective of older games that I never actually had the chance to play, or I missed or skipped or whatever it might be. It's a good place. We go all the way back from GameCube, Nintendo 64 to PS4, Xbox One era. So kind of like that 3D era where I go back and test out some of the games as well as just classic franchises. So if you want to see content like that, me going over and playing older games, go check out that channel and subscribe to it. I would greatly appreciate it. Now for the next potential game that could be 2026, I believe they actually did say 2026, but we're not entirely sure, and that is Clockwork Revolution. Now this game was first initially announced in 2023 and it looked awesome. It had straight BioShock Infinite vibes. Now in the last Xbox showcase that we had last summer, they went deep into everything about this game, the storyline, the customization, the character dialogue trees that you can go on, the story. Like, this game looks super, super cool. Now this, like I said, just like I said about Exodus with Mass Effect, Clockwork Revolution looks like a BioShock Infinite spiritual successor. I like the idea of time playing a big part in this game, and you even utilize time in combat, which I thought is really unique. For example, you're able to throw a grenade, but then you can rewind time, grab the grenade back, throw it to a different spot. It just, that looks super sick. And like I said, the customization looks absolutely wild from what we've seen so far. And in general, the premise as a whole looks super cool. So I hope they can nail the story and the vibes. It'll be a fun one. Now for this next section, we have remakes. We have a couple at least 3 ones that I'm super excited about. and that is Tomb Raider 1, the remake of Tomb Raider, The Legacy of Atlantis, I believe. And that is to basically prepare everybody for the upcoming Tomb Raider TV show that's supposed to be airing on Prime sometime this year. We're assuming later this year, as well as the new, basically trilogy sequel, the fourth installment in this new series of the Survivor series, in 2027. Now, for another game that is going to be remade, that is kind of in the rumor mill. We're not entirely sure if it's going to come out, but everything points to it coming out, and that is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, this is a game, for whatever reason, kind of slipped by me. I never actually had the chance to play it. I did plan on playing it at some last year early, but I opted not to because of the announcement of this potential remake. And I'm like, and I know some people are kind of weird about like, hey, you should at least try and see the original art style, the vision of what they had for this game. But from what I understand, it's a game that's going to require a little bit of time. And I like remakes, honestly. I like to see what they were actually aiming for. I think that's the one cool thing about remakes, at least ideally, is that you have some of the original people to help kind of guide the direction of where the original idea of this game was, help bring to life something that they just weren't able to do due to technical limitations of the time. So Black Flag was one of those games that were right at the end of the Xbox 360 generation. They were kind of limited on what they can do in this open world, and it kind of turned into an open zone. So I like the idea of this one. I'm going to definitely check this out as soon as it comes out. Now, another Ubisoft game, and that is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. And this is a game I actually have in my collection right now for the original Xbox. It's a game I played a lot as a kid, and I'm curious to see how they redo this in this new world and environment. They said 2026. This one's for sure supposed to be 2026, but we haven't heard much of it. We haven't really heard anything from Ubisoft. Ubisoft has been super, super quiet lately. I think they're going through a whole corporate restructuring and everything. So we'll see what goes. And now as for the last section of the video, and that is a random game we don't know yet. We don't know. There's always a couple games. There's a few games out there that no one sees coming, no one's following, nothing was on the radar, and then all of a sudden it's amazing. For example, last year, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. No idea about it. I did remember watching parts of the game in the Xbox Developer Direct in January last year in 2025. I was like, yeah, this is probably not a game for me. I'm not a big turn-based guy. It looked like a very niche game. Lo and behold, the game comes out. Everybody's saying like, whoa, this is a generational all-timer game. This thing's amazing. And I was like, sure, you know what? Screw it. Never been a turn-based guy. Never played turn. I'm going to try it. I'm going to play it. And I absolutely fell in love with the game. So I'm hoping I find another game like that this year, and I hope you do too as well. And that's pretty much the end of my list for right now. Let me know if there's any games that you guys are excited about that I didn't mention here. Obviously, I kind of kept it to a little bit more of the mainstream with a little bit of indie titles kind of mixed in. Kind of get an idea for the genre that I like. If you're new to this channel, you don't really know exactly what I cover. I pretty much cover everything gaming news, and just kind of just general discussions like this, and just talking about things we would like to see and whatnot. So like I said, leave me a list of the games you're excited for. I don't care what genre it is. Throw it out there. Give me some recommendations. I'll look at it, and then maybe I'll cover one of those games in the future. So yeah, if you guys like this content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you